You know that feeling. The day's finally over, screens are off, but yeah, your mind is just buzzing.
Uh-huh.
It seems like getting proper restful sleep is getting harder and harder these days.
It really does. And the stats back that up, right? The CDC says, what, over a third of adults aren't getting their 7 hours?
Exactly, over 35%. And well, it's more than just feeling a bit groggy the next day, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. When sleep suffers consistently, it hits some really core biological functions.
Yeah, things like muscle repair after you exercise, how well your memory works,
Hmm.
the balance of key hormones like cortisol and melatonin.
And insulin sensitivity, too. Plus, the longer term stuff links to neurodegenerative diseases, immune function. It's all connected.
Right. So that's the mission for this deep dive.
Hmm.
We want to explore some natural, science-backed options for better sleep. Move beyond the pills that might have side effects.
And that brings us straight to today's focus: tart cherry juice and magnesium. Two things getting a lot of attention for potentially improving sleep.
Okay. So we're going to dig into the science, see what the research really says about how they might work.
Let's do it. Where should we start? Tart cherry juice.
Yeah, let's start there. Now, we need to be clear. This isn't your standard sweet cherry, like for pies.
No, definitely not. We're talking specifically about Montmorency tart cherries. They're different.
Deeper color, much tangier taste, right?
Yeah.
And crucially, way higher in antioxidants. These seem to be the ones with the therapeutic potential.
Exactly. And it's the unique mix of compounds in these Montmorency cherries that seems to interact with our sleep regulation.
Okay, so break that down. What are the key players here for sleep?
Well, first up is melatonin, the sleep hormone. It runs our sleep-wake cycle.
And tart cherries actually contain melatonin, naturally.
Yeah, it's quite rare for a food source. They have measurable amounts.
That's interesting, because usually our body makes it, but things like screens at night can mess that up.
Precisely. So a dietary boost could potentially help compensate.
Okay, what else is in there?
Tryptophan. People often think turkey.
Right, the Thanksgiving nap myth.
Huh, yeah. But tart cherries have it too. It's an amino acid, a precursor to serotonin.
And serotonin links to melatonin production down the line, doesn't it?
It does. Serotonin helps with mood, but yeah, it's also involved in making melatonin. So it's like an indirect route to supporting sleep.
Got it. And there's a third component.
Anthocyanins. These are the pigments, the antioxidants that give them that deep red color. They seem to do two things: reduce inflammation, and inflammation can really wreck sleep and also help support healthy serotonin levels.
So multiple angles there. Melatonin source, tryptophan for serotonin, melatonin, and anti-inflammatory anthocyanins. Sounds good in theory, but is there actual research?
There is, yeah. Some interesting studies. One from 2012 in the European Journal of Nutrition.
Oh.
Participants drank Montmorency tart cherry juice twice a day for just a week, and they saw increases in melatonin levels, slept longer, and had better sleep efficiency.
In just 7 days. That's pretty quick.
It is. And there's another one, 2010, Journal of Medicinal Food. This focused on older adults with insomnia.
Right, a group that often struggles with sleep.
Exactly. They had 8 ounces in the morning and then again about an hour or two before bed. And it showed a reduction in how severe their insomnia was compared to the placebo group.
Interesting. And you mentioned inflammation again. How does that tie in specifically?
Well, think about conditions like arthritis or gout, fibromyalgia. Chronic pain is a massive sleep disruptor.
Makes sense. Hard to sleep when you're hurting.
Right, so if tart cherry juice can help dial down that inflammation, it might ease the pain enough to allow for better sleep.
Okay, so for someone listening thinking, maybe I should try this, what's the practical advice? How much, when, what kind?
Based on the studies, it looks like around 1 to 2 tablespoons of the concentrate. Or if you're using a diluted juice, about 8 ounces.
In timing.
Seems like 1 to 2 hours before bed is the sweet spot. Gives that potential melatonin boost time to kick in.
You emphasize concentrate. Why is that generally better?
Usually packs more of the beneficial compounds per serving, and critically, often has way less sugar than the ready-to-drink juices.
Ah, good point. Avoid the sugar spike before bed.
Definitely. You can just dilute the concentrate with water, or some people mix it into a smoothie, which actually leads nicely into our next topic.
Magnesium.
Exactly. Magnesium feels like everyone's talking about it lately.
And for good reason, it seems. Involved in so many bodily functions.
Hundreds. Over 300 enzymatic processes, they estimate. And yeah, including really key roles in calming the nervous system and supporting sleep.
But isn't it true that a lot of people might not be getting enough?
Yeah, that's a concern. Some figures suggest up to half the population in Western countries might have inadequate intake.
Wow, 50%. Why is that?
It's likely a mix of things. Modern diets may be lower in magnesium-rich foods, stress levels depleting our stores, potentially even less magnesium in the soil our food grows in.
Okay, so it's essential. Many might be low.
Uh-huh.
How does it actually help us sleep better? What's the mechanism?
One big one is regulating GABA.
GABA, the calming neurotransmitter.
That's the one. Magnesium helps GABA do its job, which is basically to quiet down nerve cell activity. Helps you relax, prepares you for sleep.
Okay, calming the brain down. What else?
It helps lower cortisol levels. Cortisol is our main stress hormone, and high levels, especially at night, are terrible for sleep.
Right, keeps you wired.
Exactly. Plus, magnesium directly helps muscles relax. So if you get like restless legs or cramps at night, it can be really helpful.
So it's calming the mind and the body. The double whammy.
You could put it that way, yeah. And research also links good magnesium levels to more deep, slow-wave sleep. That's the really restorative stage you need to feel refreshed.
Makes sense. And like with Tart cherry, there's science backing this up for sleep.
Oh, yes. A 2012 study, Journal of Research in Medical Sciences. They looked at elderly participants again, gave them 500 milligrams of magnesium daily for 8 weeks.
And the results.
Significant improvements, longer sleep time, better sleep efficiency. And interestingly, their melatonin levels went up too.
There's that melatonin connection again. Fascinating.
It really shows how interconnected it all is. And another study, 2016, Nutritional Neuroscience, found magnesium helped people with insomnia sleep longer overall and wake up less during the early morning.
Ugh, those 4 a.m. wake-ups are the worst.
Tell me about it. Magnesium seems to help maintain sleep continuity, probably related to its effect on the HPA axis, the body's stress response system. It helps dampen that down.
Okay, so we've got tart cherry juice with its benefits, magnesium with its own set of benefits. But the idea of combining them sounds particularly interesting. Why put them together?
It's all about potential synergy. They seem to complement each other.
How so?
Well, the melatonin aspect, for one. Tart cherry gives you a direct source, while magnesium seems to help your body make and regulate its own melatonin better.
Ah, like a two-pronged approach to melatonin support.
Exactly. And then the anti-inflammatory effects. Both have properties that help reduce inflammation.
Right, which can ease pain and help recovery during sleep. Good for
you
athletes,
go.
older adults.
Definitely. Anyone with aches and pains, really. And don't forget muscle relaxation magnesium's direct effect, boosted by the anti-inflammatory side of tart cherry aiding recovery.
So they're tackling sleep issues from slightly different, but complementary angles. You mentioned a practical hack for this combo.
Yeah, a simple little evening drink. You take about an ounce of the tart cherry concentrate,
Okay.
mix it with about 8 ounces of warm water. Then add your magnesium dose, maybe 200 to 400 milligrams of glycinate or citrate powder.
And just sip that before bed.
Yeah, sip it slowly, maybe an hour or so before you plan to sleep. The warmth is nice and soothing, too.
Sounds easy enough.
Yeah.
But you also stressed that this isn't a magic bullet, right?
Yeah.
It works best as part of a bigger picture.
Absolutely. Think of tart cherry and magnesium as powerful tools in your sleep toolkit, but they work best on a solid foundation of good sleep hygiene.
Okay, let's quickly cover those foundational basics. What are the key things?
First, a consistent wind-down routine. Signal to your body it's time for sleep. That means screens off phone, tablet, TV, at least an hour before bed. Blue light is a killer for melatonin.
Right. Dim the lights, too.
Yes, dim the lights. Maybe a warm bath, add some Epsom salts for extra magnesium absorption through the skin. And calming activities. Deep breathing, like that 4-7-8 technique, or just a few minutes of meditation.
Setting the stage. What about the bedroom itself?
Crucial. Keep it cool, ideally 65 to 68 Fahrenheit or about 18-20 Celsius. Make it dark, really dark. Blackout curtains, maybe a sleep mask.
And quiet.
As quiet as possible. Earplugs if needed, or maybe white noise if silence is too loud for you. And get rid of any glowing electronics by the bed.
Good tips. And things to avoid before bed. The sleep saboteurs.
Definitely. Caffeine is a big one. Try to cut it off after 2 p.m., maybe earlier for some people. Alcohol. It might make you drowsy initially.
Yeah, the nightcap idea.
But it messes up your REM sleep later on, so you don't feel rested. Avoid big, heavy meals within 2 or 3 hours of bed. Digestion takes energy.
And sugary snacks.
Yeah, bad idea. Can cause blood sugar swings that wake you up. Stick to something balanced if you need a small snack.
Makes sense. Create the right internal and external conditions.
Yeah.
You shared a story about someone, Laura.
Yes, Laura. 52-year-old yoga teacher, Colorado, had dealt with insomnia for, over 10 years. Tried different things. Not much luck.
So she tried this combo.
She did. Started drinking tart cherry concentrate with magnesium citrate every night, about an hour before bed.
There she's skeptical.
Very skeptical, apparently. But within a few nights, she started noticing she wasn't waking up as much.
Wow.
Now she consistently gets 7 to 8 hours of solid sleep. Says her mornings are totally different, feels way more rested, even remembers her dreams more vividly.
That's a great real-world example. Really brings it home. Okay, so if listeners are inspired to try this, let's talk products. What should you look for in a tart cherry juice?
Key things. Make sure it's the Montmorency variety. Go for unsweetened concentrate if you can, more potent, less sugar.
Check the label for added sugars, preservatives.
Exactly. No junk. Cold pressed or flash pasteurized is usually better for preserving the good stuff. One specific brand often mentioned is Fruit Advantage Tart Cherry Juice Concentrate. It's U.S. grown, high antioxidant value, sediment-free.
Okay, good specific suggestion. What about magnesium? So many forms out there: oxide, citrate, glycinate.
Yeah, it can be confusing. For sleep, magnesium glycinate and magnesium citrate are generally the top recommendations.
Why those two?
Glycinate is really gentle on the stomach, and the glycine part itself is calming. Citrate is also good for relaxation and can help a bit with digestion too, though maybe start lower dose with that one.
And the one to avoid.
Magnesium oxide. It's common, it's cheap, but your body just doesn't absorb it very well. Lower bioavailability.
Got it. Glycinate or citrate. And dosage.
A typical starting point for evening use is around 200 to 400 milligrams.
And of course, the important disclaimer. Always best to talk to your doctor or healthcare provider before starting new supplements, especially if you have health conditions or take medications.
Absolutely crucial. Okay, we've covered a lot. Maybe we can tackle some quick FAQs people might have.
Good idea. Like, how long before bed again for the tart cherry juice?
Aim for about 1 to 2 hours before sleep. Gives the melatonin time to get absorbed and signal sleepiness.
Can you just mix the magnesium powder right into the tart cherry juice drink?
Yep, totally. Mixing magnesium glycinate or citrate powder into the warm diluted juice is a really easy and effective way to take both. Nice, soothing bedtime drink.
Convenient. What about for things like jet lag or shift work? Could this combo help reset your clock?
It definitely could be helpful, yeah. Because both ingredients support regulating that circadian rhythm and melatonin, they can be valuable tools for adjusting to time changes or weird schedules.
Good to know. Any side effects to watch out for?
Generally well tolerated. With tart cherry juice, maybe some mild tummy upset if you drink like huge amounts.
Okay.
Magnesium, especially citrate or higher doses, can sometimes cause loose stools. Starting low and slow helps avoid that.
Right. And the big question, how long until you might actually feel a difference?
It varies, of course, but many people report noticing some improvement within, say, 3 to 5 nights of consistent use.
The full benefits might take longer.
Yeah, to really see the full potential, give it a good week or two of consistent nightly use. Consistency really is key with these natural approaches.
Okay. So wrapping up, it feels like in this crazy sleep-deprived world we live in, tart cherry juice and magnesium offer a really promising, natural, science-supported way to help reclaim good sleep.
And it's not just about knocking you out, is it? It's about supporting your body's own natural sleep processes, aiming for deeper, more restorative rest.
So maybe tonight, instead of scrolling, you could try mixing up that Sleeky Cherry Magnesium nightcap. See what happens.
Combine it with a couple of the simple sleep hygiene tweaks we talked about.
You might be surprised how much better you feel waking up.
And that brings us to a final thought for you, the listener, to chew on. Tonight, don't just think about how to fall asleep. Think about how you can truly nourish your sleep. What could unlocking that deeper, more restorative rest mean for you beyond just feeling less tired? What might it open up?